The unexpected arrival. It was a peaceful night on Earth, the kind of night where the stars shined bright and the world seemed to sleep under a quiet blanket of darkness. But deep in the universe, something was stirring. An alien fleet, unlike anything humanity had ever seen, was heading straight for Earth. Their ships were huge, like moving mountains, their dark forms blocking out the stars as they approached. The invaders had come with one purpose: to conquer, to take over Earth and everything on it. They believed Earth was weak, just a tiny speck in the vastness of the galaxy, easy to crush under their feet. The first ship entered the atmosphere, a massive, metallic beast that broke through the clouds with ease. It hovered above the ground, its engines roaring like thunder. It was a sign, a warning to humanity that they were about to face something far beyond anything they had imagined. People in cities around the world looked up at the sky, frozen with fear. They had heard of alien threats before, but this was different. This wasn't a rumor, or a far-off threat, this was real. And it was coming fast. As the ships landed, one by one, a terrible silence fell over the planet. The ground shook under the weight of the alien vessels. People ran, desperate to escape, but there was nowhere to go. The aliens didn't come to negotiate, they came to conquer. They stepped out of their ships with weapons that could melt through steel like butter, their cold, emotionless eyes scanning the earth below. They had no respect for life, and they saw humans as nothing more than insects to be squashed. But what the aliens didn't know, what they couldn't possibly have understood, was that Earth wasn't as defenseless as they thought. Beneath the surface, deep in the heart of the planet, something ancient was stirring. The monsters of Earth, long forgotten by the world above, were waking up. These were not the creatures of myth and legend, these were real, powerful beings that had been living beneath Earth's surface for thousands of years, waiting for the right moment to rise again. At first, the invaders didn't notice anything. They continued their destruction, crushing buildings and taking what they wanted. But then, something changed. A rumble, low and deep, echoed through the ground. The invaders paused, their attention suddenly fixed on the source of the noise. It was coming from the earth itself, a sound that could only mean one thing. Something was coming up from below, something big, something powerful. The first creature to emerge was enormous. It had the body of a giant, with skin as tough as stone and eyes that glowed with a fierce red light. The ground trembled as it stood tall, rising from a deep chasm in the earth. Its massive claws scraped against the rocks as it took its first steps onto the surface. It roared, a sound that shook the air, echoing through the alien ships above. The invaders had never seen anything like it. The aliens fired their weapons, aiming their deadly lasers at the creature, but the beams bounced off its thick skin. It wasn't just strong, it was invincible. With a swipe of its massive claws, it sent an entire alien ship flying through the air, its hull splitting apart like paper. The invaders were stunned. This wasn't just an animal. It was a force of nature. The alien fleet had come to conquer, but now, they were facing something they had never prepared for. The monster roared again, and more creatures began to emerge from the earth. One by one, they rose up, each more terrifying than the last. Massive serpents slithered out of the ground, their scales glistening in the moonlight, while gigantic birds with wings that stretched for miles took to the sky. The creatures were everywhere, coming from the depths of the earth, as if the planet itself had decided to fight back. The invaders tried to regroup, their ships retreating into the sky, but Earth's monsters were relentless. They followed, crashing through the clouds, chasing the alien ships that tried to flee. Earth was no longer a planet to be conquered. It had become a battleground, a place where the invaders had no hope of winning. The creatures that lived beneath the surface were Earth's final defense, and they were not going to let anyone harm their planet. The aliens, once so sure of their victory, were now running for their lives. They had underestimated Earth, and it was a mistake they would never live to regret. The planet wasn't weak. It was alive, and it was fighting back, with all the power of its ancient monsters. And as the invaders fled, one thought crossed their minds: they had made a grave mistake. Earth was not a place to conquer. It was a place to be feared. The first assault. The sky was now a battlefield, once calm and peaceful, but now alive with the roar of battle. The alien ships had scattered, attempting to retreat into the vastness of space, but Earth's monsters followed them relentlessly, moving faster than any human could imagine. From the skies above, great beasts swooped down, their massive wings cutting through the air like knives, while below, massive creatures with jagged teeth and claws tore through the ground, chasing their prey with an unyielding fury. One of the largest creatures, a serpent-like being that stretched over a mile long, rose from a deep rift in the Earth's crust. Its body, covered in hard scales like the toughest armor, shimmered under the glow of the alien ships. The alien fleet, still recovering from the shock of Earth's retaliation, had not yet realized the true extent of the creature's power. But they would soon learn. The serpent moved with terrifying speed, slithering through the air and crashing into an alien ship, its powerful coils wrapping around the vessel like a vice. The ship groaned under the pressure as the creature squeezed, its immense strength crushing the hull until it exploded into 1,000 pieces. The roar that followed was deafening, a sound that shook the very air, and the remaining alien ship scattered, frantically trying to evade the creatures that now hunted them down. But Earth's monsters weren't just attacking for the sake of destruction. No, they had a purpose. These ancient beings had waited for centuries, hidden deep within the earth, and now they had risen for one reason, to protect their home. Every alien ship that fell, every invader that was brought to the ground, was a message to the galaxy: Earth was not weak. Earth was not defenseless. Earth was a force to be reckoned with. The invaders had thought that their advanced technology and powerful weapons would give them an easy victory, but now they were learning that there was more to Earth than they could have ever understood. The creatures that lived beneath its surface were not merely animals. They were guardians, protectors of a planet that had been too quiet for too long. And now, as the invaders tried to retreat, they realized that escaping Earth's wrath would be no easy task. One by one, the alien ships were brought down. Some were torn apart in the sky by giant birds of prey, their talons sharp enough to tear through metal. Others were swallowed whole by gigantic, monstrous jaws that snapped shut with a deadly precision. The creatures that Earth had once forgotten had returned, and they were more than capable of defending their home. Yet the invaders weren't ready to give up. They regrouped and launched a counterattack, unleashing a barrage of lasers and missiles aimed directly at the creatures. It was their last hope. The alien fleet, though damaged, still had enough firepower to strike back, but they had underestimated the power of the Earth's creatures. One of the largest of Earth's monsters, a creature with the body of a massive bear but the head of a lion, stepped forward to meet the assault. The alien lasers hit its thick fur, but the beams were absorbed, not even making a dent. With a snarl, the creature charged forward, its enormous claws raking through the alien ships, cutting them apart like paper. It was unstoppable, a force of nature that the invaders could not contain. The battle raged on, the creatures of Earth tearing through the alien fleet with ease, while the invaders scrambled to fight back. But the more they fought, the more they realized that this wasn't a battle they could win. They had underestimated Earth, and now they were paying the price. As the last of the alien ships fell from the sky, Earth's monsters gathered, watching the wreckage of the invasion force burn up in the atmosphere. The message was clear: Earth was no longer a planet to be ignored. It was a force to be reckoned with, and those who dared threaten it would feel the full fury of its defenders. But the invaders weren't finished yet. As the dust settled and the last remnants of the alien fleet disappeared into the void, the alien queen, who had remained hidden on her flagship, finally spoke, her voice trembling with fear. "This is not over," she warned. "We will return." But as her words echoed through space, a final roar erupted from Earth's depths. The creatures were not finished yet. The galaxy would soon learn, once again, that when Earth was threatened, Earth fought back. And this time, the monsters of Earth would not rest until every invader was gone. Rising forces. The last remnants of the alien fleet had been scattered, their ships burning up as they fell from the sky. The battle seemed over, but deep within the Earth, the fight was just beginning. As the monsters continued their rampage, more creatures began to emerge from the depths of the planet, each one more terrifying than the last. It was as if Earth itself had been waiting for this moment, for the call to arms, for the chance to show the galaxy the power that had been hidden for millennia. From the fiery cracks in the Earth's surface, a massive creature rose. It had the body of a dragon, but instead of wings, it had long, coiling serpentine tails that whipped through the air, sending tremors through the ground. Its scales glowed like molten lava, and when it opened its jaws, a wave of fire erupted, lighting up the night sky like a second sun. This was no ordinary beast, this was one of the oldest and most dangerous creatures that had ever lived on Earth. It was an ancient guardian, and it had come to deliver justice. The alien ships that had regrouped above Earth were now in a desperate race to escape. Their weapons were nearly depleted, and their morale was shattered. But the moment they turned to flee, Earth's monsters were right behind them. No matter where they went, the creatures followed, always one step ahead, always ready to strike. Another creature, a towering giant with skin like stone, appeared from the ruins of a broken mountain. It moved with surprising speed for its size, its fists crashing down on the alien ships like a hammer. The creatures weren't just strong, they were coordinated, working together as if they had a single mind, a single purpose, to protect their planet. The invaders attempted to retaliate, but their attacks were useless. Their ships were torn apart by the creatures' strength, their weapons rendered useless against the raw power of Earth's defenders. And still, more monsters continued to emerge, one after another, each more terrifying and more powerful than the last. As the battle escalated, the alien commanders realized the full extent of the disaster they were facing. They had come to Earth thinking it would be an easy victory, but they had underestimated the planet's true strength. The creatures were not just beasts, they were Earth's defenders, and no weapon in the galaxy could stop them. Each alien ship that fell was another warning sent to the invaders, this planet was not theirs to conquer. In the midst of the chaos, the alien queen, still hidden aboard her flagship, sent out a distress signal, her voice trembling with desperation. "We are being overwhelmed. We need backup. Send reinforcements." But her plea went unanswered. No one was coming. The invasion had failed, and Earth's monsters had made sure of that. In the skies above, the last few alien ships tried to break free, weaving between the monsters that swarmed below. But one by one, they were brought down, each ship torn apart by the fury of Earth's creatures. The invaders' hope of escape was fading fast, and the final battle was nearing its end. But Earth's defenders were not done yet. As the last of the alien ships fell, a low, rumbling sound echoed from the planet's core. From deep beneath the Earth's surface, a new monster was awakening, one even larger and more powerful than any the aliens had faced before. The ground shook as it rose, its immense form pushing through the layers of the Earth with ease. It was a massive, armored behemoth, its body covered in thick, impenetrable plating, and its eyes glowed with an unholy light. This was the true guardian of Earth, the one that had been slumbering for centuries, waiting for the right moment to rise. And now, the invaders would face it. The queen, in her panic, watched as the creature emerged from the ground, towering over her ship like a mountain. Her heart sank. There was no escape now. Earth's wrath had no end, and the monsters had only just begun. The alien fleet, once confident in their victory, now realized the truth. Earth was no ordinary planet. It was a planet alive with ancient power, a planet that would never fall to invaders. The monsters of Earth had shown them that there were forces in the universe more powerful than any weapon, more terrifying than any fleet. And those forces had just begun to fight. Desperate measures. The battle had reached its boiling point. The alien fleet, once so mighty, was now scattered and broken. The sky was filled with smoke and the wreckage of their ships, burning as they fell to Earth. The creatures of Earth, relentless in their pursuit, had torn through the invaders' defenses with ease. Yet, amid the chaos, something darker began to unfold. The alien queen, shaken and desperate, knew there was no more time to waste. Her forces were gone, her fleet was nearly destroyed, and Earth's monstrous guardians were only growing stronger. The last hope for the invaders rested on one final, desperate measure, calling for reinforcements from the deepest corners of the galaxy. On her command, a signal was sent, a call for help so powerful it could reach across the stars. The Queen, with her head bowed in defeat, had no choice but to trust in the backup fleet she had secretly prepared, a fleet of unimaginable power, designed to crush any resistance, no matter the cost. But she knew, deep down, that even this last resort might not be enough. Earth's monsters were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, and no one had ever dared to challenge them. But now, it was too late for regrets. While the Queen waited for reinforcements, the ground beneath her began to tremble once again. The giant creature, the true guardian of Earth, had fully emerged. Standing over 100 feet tall, its armored body seemed impervious to anything. Its eyes glowed with a fierce, almost otherworldly power. It turned its massive head toward the alien flagship, and in that instant, it was clear, the battle had shifted. This was no longer a war of weapons and tactics, this was a war of survival. But the aliens would not go down without a fight. The Queen's flagship, though damaged, had enough power to unleash one last devastating assault. With a roar, it fired its weapons at the towering guardian, beams of energy that lit up the night sky. The creature, unfazed, raised its armored arms to block the attack, and the beams exploded upon impact, sending shockwaves through the air. But the guardian did not move. It was unscathed. The alien Queen's eyes widened in disbelief. She had expected resistance, but she had never imagined this. Her fleet was nothing compared to the raw power that stood before her now. This wasn't just Earth's monsters. This was the planet itself, defending what was rightfully its. And the alien Queen realized something she had refused to accept for so long: Earth was not a world to be conquered. It was a world to be respected. In one final, desperate attempt, the Queen ordered her remaining ships to launch their full offensive, hoping that the sheer force of numbers would overwhelm Earth's protector. As the ships descended in a last-ditch attack, the ground below erupted in a massive, violent explosion, sending a shockwave that could be felt for miles. Earth's guardian stood firm, raising one colossal arm to strike. The alien ships that had attempted to launch their final assault were obliterated in seconds, their shields and hulls no match for the creature's raw power. The invaders had failed. The Queen knew it, her remaining forces knew it, and Earth's monsters knew it. There was no more hope for the alien fleet. The time for fighting was over. Now, only survival remained. The Queen, trembling, watched as Earth's guardian advanced toward her ship, its massive steps shaking the very ground. With no way to escape, the Queen knew she had one last chance, one final act that could save her people. She ordered the flagship's engines to fire up, but it was too late. Earth's guardian was upon them. The ship's defenses were useless, and as the towering creature raised its enormous fist, the alien flagship was crushed under its weight. The alien Queen was gone, her fleet vanquished, her reinforcements never having arrived. But as the dust settled, and Earth's monsters began to retreat back into the depths of the planet, the message was clear: Earth had defended itself, and no one would threaten it again. The galaxy had underestimated Earth. They had thought it was weak, defenseless, and easy to conquer. But the truth was far different. Earth had its own guardians, creatures born of its very soil, its very heart, and they would never allow anyone to harm their world. The invaders had been foolish, and now they had learned a hard lesson. Earth was not a planet to be taken lightly. And its monsters would forever stand as a warning to anyone who dared to cross its path. As the last of the invaders fled into the darkness of space, Earth returned to its peaceful silence, its monsters slipping back into the shadows, waiting for the next threat to come. And the universe would forever remember the day Earth's monsters unleashed their wrath. The alien Queen's plea. The aftermath of the battle left the sky burned and scorched, remnants of alien ships floating like shattered husks in the empty void of space. On Earth, the monsters had returned to their resting places, their job done, but the scars of war were evident. Cities lay in ruins, landscapes had been torn apart, and the smell of smoke and destruction lingered in the air. The planet had been ravaged, but it had stood strong. Earth had fought back. Among the wreckage, the alien queen, barely clinging to life, found herself standing at the last command center of her flagship. She had no army left, no fleet to defend her, and only a handful of her closest advisors remained. But in her eyes, there was one last spark of defiance. She would not bow to the creatures of Earth, not yet. Her hand trembled as she activated the communication panel on her ship. The signal was weak, but she hoped, prayed, that someone would hear her. It was a long shot, but if the galaxy had any hope left for her species, it rested on this message. "We beg for mercy," the Queen's voice cracked, heavy with despair, yet her pride remained unbroken. "We did not know of Earth's true power, we were blinded by our own arrogance. Please, show us mercy. We will leave your world, never to return. Spare us, and we will never cross your path again." For a moment, there was silence, an eerie, crushing silence, as if the entire universe held its breath. Then, the communication screen flickered to life, but it was not a fleet commander, nor a distant ally, who responded. Instead, the screen filled with static, and a deep, rumbling voice echoed through the ship. "No mercy," it growled. The voice was primal, unyielding, and unmistakably Earth's. It wasn't human. It wasn't even from any known species. It was from the very heart of the planet itself. The voice came from one of the creatures, the guardians that had defended Earth. It was the voice of Earth's vengeance, and it wasn't interested in negotiation. The alien queen's eyes widened in shock and fear. There was no room for diplomacy, no room for peace. The planet had made its decision. "Your fleet has been destroyed," the voice continued, each word laced with wrath. "Your people are nothing compared to the fury of Earth's guardians. You believed you could conquer this world, but Earth was never yours to take. You've lost. Leave, and never return. Or face the consequences of your greed." The Queen's mind raced. She had underestimated the creatures of Earth, yes, but she still held one final card. Her last hope was now in the hands of the remaining alien ships that were still far off, waiting in the outer reaches of the galaxy, beyond the reach of Earth's monsters. It was a fleet of unimaginable power, thousands of warships, each capable of obliterating entire planets. They were her last chance. With shaking hands, the Queen reached for the emergency comm link. "We are not finished," she said, her voice steely despite her fear. "The reinforcements will come. They will crush you, and they will make Earth pay for every lost life." But the voice on the screen only laughed, a low, rumbling sound that seemed to come from deep within the Earth itself. "We have heard your threats before, Queen. But this time, there will be no victory. Earth's wrath has only just begun." The screen went dark, and the communication panel fell silent. The Queen's heart sank. She knew the truth now. No fleet was coming to save her. No reinforcements were waiting. She was alone. Above Earth, the last few alien ships that had attempted to retreat now found themselves trapped. As they fled toward the edges of the solar system, a fleet of Earth's monstrous guardians followed them, a terrifying reminder of the planet's power. The alien ships, once so proud and confident, now knew the full weight of their mistake. One by one, Earth's creatures pounced, each strike shaking the invaders to their core. Massive serpents wrapped their coils around the alien ships, squeezing them into oblivion. Giant birds of prey swooped down from the sky, tearing apart the remaining vessels with their razor-sharp claws. And in the distance, the armored guardian, the one who had stood as Earth's ultimate protector, watched silently, its glowing eyes scanning the horizon, waiting for the last remnants of the alien fleet to fall. The Queen, stranded on her flagship, stared out at the chaos unfolding before her. She realized now that Earth had never needed mercy. Earth had always been the one in control, the one with the power to defend itself. And the galaxy would learn that lesson, just as the aliens had. There was no way back. Earth had risen to its defense, and it had done so with unstoppable force. The final remnants of the alien fleet vanished into the void, their broken ships drifting silently toward the edges of the galaxy. The Queen, once so proud, now bowed her head in defeat. She had been the one to underestimate Earth, and now, she would pay the price for her arrogance. As Earth's monsters slowly faded into the shadows of the planet's depths, the Queen's plea for mercy echoed in the silence. But the creatures did not answer. They had made their point. Earth was not a world to be conquered. It was a world to be feared. A final stand. The battle had ended, or so it seemed. The alien fleet had been decimated, the invaders scattered across the stars, fleeing in disgrace. Earth had emerged victorious, its monsters having torn apart the alien forces with ruthless precision. But the quiet that followed was not peaceful. It was filled with the weight of what had happened, the planet still aching from the destruction. The scars of war were everywhere, and the planet's wounds would take time to heal. Yet, deep within Earth's core, there was something else. A lingering tension. Earth's monsters had done their part, but they had never been the true aggressors. They were defenders, protectors of a planet that had seen too much suffering, too many invasions. They were not the ones who had started the war. And as they returned to their slumber, resting beneath the Earth's surface, new, unforeseen danger emerged, one that Earth's creatures could not fight. It came in the form of a signal, faint at first, but growing stronger with each passing minute. It was a message sent not by the alien queen, but by something far more terrifying. A fleet of unknown origin had picked up the queen's distress call. They were not the same race, nor the same kind of conquerors, but they were just as deadly. This was a force that had long watched Earth from the shadows, and they had come to finish what the queen had started. As the new fleet entered the solar system, Earth's monsters stirred from their deep slumber, sensing the arrival of a new threat. But this time, they were not prepared. These new invaders were not like the alien fleet that had come before. They were a species born for war, masters of space combat, and their ships were designed to withstand the fury of even the strongest of creatures. Earth's monsters, powerful as they were, had never faced anything like this. They were no match for the invaders' technology. The first ship appeared in Earth's atmosphere like a dark shadow, its form sleek and deadly, unlike any vessel Earth had seen before. It didn't land, nor did it descend like the alien ships that had come before. It simply hovered in the air, unmoving, silent, and terrifying. Then came the second, and the third, each one appearing from different directions, surrounding Earth's atmosphere in a vast circle. The monsters of Earth, those mighty creatures who had once struck fear into the hearts of the invaders, watched in silence. They had not been called to fight this battle, for this was not an enemy they could defeat with brute force alone. Their power, immense as it was, would not be enough against this new threat. For the first time, Earth's creatures were unsure, uncertain of what to do. And then came the voice. Not from Earth, nor from the invaders who had come before, but from the new fleet. A harsh, cold voice filled the airwaves, reverberating through the planet's very core. "This world is no longer yours to defend," the voice said, its tone laced with authority. "Your planet is weak, and its monsters are nothing compared to the power we wield. We have come to claim Earth, to strip it of its resources, to make it ours." The voice belonged to a race older than any the aliens had encountered, a species that had wandered the universe for eons, consuming worlds and leaving nothing in their wake. They were the ultimate conquerors, and they had arrived to claim Earth as their own. The creatures of Earth, once so fierce and untouchable, now stood at the brink of annihilation. Their great power had been tested, but it was clear, this was not a battle they could win alone. The monsters had their place in the natural order, but this force was not natural. It was something far darker, something that would stop at nothing to claim Earth for its own. But just as hope seemed lost, a new message cut through the silence. It was not the Queen's voice, nor the cold, commanding tone of the invaders. It was human. It was a voice filled with defiance, filled with a strength the monsters had never expected to hear. "We may be outmatched," the voice said, "but we are not alone. Earth will never fall. Not to you, not to anyone." The message came from the remnants of the human forces that had fought alongside the monsters in the past. Though their military was shattered and their resources depleted, they were far from defeated. Humans had always been resilient, and now, with their last strength, they sent a signal to the stars, calling for help. In the dark reaches of space, far beyond Earth's atmosphere, another fleet appeared. It was not massive, but it was enough. It was a coalition of humans from distant colonies, ships built in secret, and forces long forgotten. They had been watching, waiting for the day Earth would need them. And now, that day had come. As the human fleet entered the solar system, the new invaders, for the first time, hesitated. They had never expected this. They had come to claim Earth, but now they were facing a force they hadn't prepared for, humanity's will to survive. Earth's monsters, seeing the arrival of the human fleet, stirred once more. They were not alone. Humanity had come to their defense, and together, they would fight to the end. The true battle for Earth was just beginning. Earth's final defiance. The battle for Earth had taken a turn no one could have predicted. The invading fleet, once confident in their ability to crush any resistance, now found themselves facing something they had never encountered before, humanity's resilience. Earth's monsters, powerful as they were joined by the one force they had never expected, the human spirit. As the human fleet entered Earth's orbit, their ships cut through the atmosphere like arrows of defiance, their weapons charged and ready. The alien invaders, so sure of their victory, looked on in disbelief. This was not just a war for Earth anymore, this was a war for the soul of the galaxy. The first wave of human ships, though smaller in number, were equipped with cutting-edge technology that had been developed in secret for decades. They weren't just military vessels, they were symbolized as Earth's last stand, each one a declaration that humanity would never bow to any conqueror. They bristled with energy shields, weapons far beyond the invaders' most advanced tech, and an unshakable will to protect their home. The alien fleet, still focused on Earth's monsters, turned their attention to the new threat. Their commander, cold and calculating, ordered a strike. Destroy them. Leave nothing of their ships intact. The invaders unleashed their full arsenal, firing barrage after barrage of energy weapons at the incoming fleet. But to their surprise, the human ships were more than a match. The energy shields absorbed the incoming fire, and the human ships retaliated with precision, tearing through the invaders' defenses with pinpoint accuracy. The monsters of Earth, sensing the shift in the battle, rallied alongside the human fleet. The massive, armored guardian that had once stood as Earth's final protector now moved with purpose, its massive fists slamming into the enemy ships like meteors, tearing them apart. The serpents that had once slithered beneath Earth's surface rose again, their venomous fangs sinking into the invaders' warships, dragging them down into the depths of the atmosphere. Yet, as the battle raged on, the invaders' reinforcements began to arrive, ships as large as mountains, armed with weapons capable of leveling entire continents. The galaxy's deadliest fleet had come to Earth's doorstep, ready to finish what their predecessors had failed to do. The tension in the air was palpable, a final clash between unstoppable forces. But just as all hope seemed lost, a new voice echoed across the battlefield, one that was neither human nor alien. It was Earth's voice, the voice of the planet itself. The monsters that had risen from Earth's depths, the guardians who had fought so fiercely, paused for a moment as the voice spoke, and in that instant, the ground beneath their feet trembled. Enough, the voice boomed, deep and resounding, shaking the heavens above. You will not take this world. Earth stands, not alone, but with all that it has birthed. It has fought for itself, and now it calls for those who understand the value of life to fight beside it. With these words, the ground cracked open one last time. From the fissures rose new creatures, not born of Earth's core, but of its spirit. They were not monsters, not mere beasts, but beings forged by the collective will of humanity and the planet, ancient, wise, and powerful beyond measure. Their forms were ethereal, shimmering with the colors of the very earth itself, as if the planet had breathed them into existence. They hovered above the battlefield, their eyes glowing with wisdom and fury. The invaders hesitated, for the first time truly understanding that they had not only underestimated Earth's creatures, but Earth itself. The new beings, born of Earth's will, did not fight with claws or fire, but with an energy so pure, it dissolved the very essence of the invaders' ships. The final wave of attacks had begun. As the invaders' fleet attempted to retaliate, the new beings struck with such force that even the mightiest of their ships were torn apart by the energy surging from the planet's core. One by one, the invaders' ships fell from the sky, reduced to nothing more than ash in the wind. The alien fleet, now broken, began to retreat, their commanders ordering a full withdrawal. But Earth's monsters and the new beings forged from its spirit weren't finished. They chased down the remaining ships, their power unstoppable. The message had been sent, loud and clear. Earth had defended itself, not through raw strength alone, but through unity, resilience, and the power of its will. The alien queen, her fleet destroyed, her forces shattered, sat in silence aboard her final ship, watching as the last remnants of her forces vanished into the stars. Earth's monsters had not only defended their world, they had sent a message to the galaxy: no force, no invader, could ever truly conquer Earth. The planet had risen from its core, and it would stand for as long as it wished.